Another day, another assassination attempt. Life goes on.
Take a look at what happened.
The first Trump shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania was a mega event with the nation glued to TV screens for hours. This one in Florida was a duck-in, duck-out, one-day affair to see if there was anything new, such as, did they catch anyone? Good. Now back to the NFL. 24 hours later, Kamala Harris was on the campaign trail doing an interview with the National Association of Black Journalists. That's the same group Donald Trump unhappily appeared before previously, where he faced the most tendentious, accusatory opening question I've ever heard from a reporter.
You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. Why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Following the second thwarted assassination attempt at a Trump golf course in Florida, the Trump-Vance ticket quickly pivoted to incorporate the event into their campaign strategy.
You know the big difference between conservatives and liberals? No one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this crap out. Somebody's going to get hurt by it.
Taking to X, Mr. Trump said the politics in our country has gone to a whole new level of hatred, abuse, and distrust.
I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner, a first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you?
Who could disagree? Hatred, abuse, and distrust have become the mother's milk of American politics. I suppose we can count it as progress that no one has suggested Messrs. Trump and Biden settle their differences like Hamilton and Burr in a duel at 10 paces. For discussion's sake, we will posit that the current state of U.S. politics headed toward the ditch during the Republican presidential primary debates in 2015, when Mr. Trump turned the personal insult into a low art form.
In an interview last week in Rolling Stone magazine, Donald Trump said the following about you, quote, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?" Mr. Trump later said he was talking about your persona, not your appearance.
I think women all over this country heard very clearly what Mr. Trump said.
But that will never fully explain what happened to Mr. Trump after he defeated Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Not my president!
Democrats may not like the term Trump derangement syndrome, but how else explain the political atmosphere they consciously assembled from then until, well, right now?
Democrats have let Trump derangement syndrome develop into a kind of dangerous partisan fever that our founding fathers were afraid of.
The unstoppable Trump attacks included the Russian collusion narrative, Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation, and 2 impeachments between 2019 and 2021.
He has been impeached. He's been impeached forever.
The barrage continued even when Mr. Trump had left office. Indictments by prosecutors in Georgia and New York City, the Merrick Garland, Jack Smith indictments, the FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid.
We're living in an era where a determined minority is doing everything in its power to try to destroy our democracy for their own agenda.
Joe Biden started 2024 with a threat to democracy speech in which he referenced the word democracy nearly 30 times in 30 minutes.
Kamala Harris.
More recently came the relentless attacks in the presidential debate.
Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails.
Yes, we know the legal details, the abhorrent events of January 6th, and as already noted, the role of Mr. Trump's own rhetoric. But did the word assassination ever enter Democrats' minds? Maybe not, but the predictable efforts to walk back their personal attacks might be a little late.
You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down.
It may not be possible to draw a line from Ryan Ruth or Thomas Crooks to anything Mr. Biden or Ms. Harris said. Both men were disturbed psychologically. But what they did have in common, as did the Austrian man who was plotting mass killings at the Taylor Swift concert in Vienna last month, is their immersion in our politics, especially via social media, which eventually tipped into irrationality. It was the same story 7 years ago when social media obsessive James Hodgkinson shot up the congressional baseball game. It is easy to say they are nutcase outliers, but consider, many normal people can't comfortably go to bed anymore without first consuming a heavy, pleasurable dose of abuse and distrust, online or on screen. This is the blame narcotic, and too much of it can be injurious to one's mental health. After the capture of the Trump shooter, Elon Musk posted on X, quote, "And no one is even trying to assassinate Biden-Kamala?" He claimed it was meant to be a joke, and he quickly deleted it. But while social media has uses, through repetition it disintegrates almost everything it touches into unreality.
I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me.
On November 5th, we will discover whether the targeting of Mr. Trump helps or hurts his candidacy, whether undecided voters will agree with him that he deserves re-election because his treatment by the Democrats has put him in danger, or if he's just too hot for another presidential term.